Hello and welcome, guys, to another episode of the OnReviewCast. I'm your host here, Ash, and today we are looking at Squid Game, Season 2, Episode 4 of the Squid Game on review. So let's get into it. And first, like we always get started off here at the OnReviewCast. It's your number one go-to show for all things media, guys. If you don't know, we're going to review all the things here. Just like every episode, we're gonna have our episode breakdown courtesy of Fandom. And episode 6 is the episode 6 is called Six Legs. It is the 4th episode of the 2nd season of Squid Game, and it's the 13th episode overall. It was written by Hwang Dong-hyuk and directed by Hwang Dong-hyuk. Synopsis. The players prepare for the night's game, a six-legged pentathlon, where each team member must clear a mini-game to survive or face a collective elimination. Yeah. So the air date was December 26, 2024. Yeah, so this one, guys, back again with our review here cast here. It's been a while. I know it's been a bit of a minute before since we posted anything new, but we're back again, and we're reviewing some Squid Games, guys. And also, guys, just a reminder, if you have any kind of comments, questions, concerns via these reviews, go ahead and leave them in the comment and let me know what you think. But yeah, let's get on with the review. So this episode, we see that this is the post aftermath of people just after they voted for X or O, whether to stay or to go, X or O, for participating inside of the games. And we see a now defeated Gion kind of regroup with his friend here to talk about why did that person 001, who we now know is the main guy behind, the main mastermind behind this, which is so Eno is basically running the show here, and he's now participating in the game, and that was the big thriller ending of what it was at the end of episode 3, and we're picking it up now. And Gion is now having a conversation. He's making friends, collectively. And when the number 001 comes up to him and actually starts having a conversation as to he starts explaining himself as to why he essentially decided to stay and keep participating in these games. And 001, or the main bad guy who's running the fucking shit, the psychological aspect behind this is fucked. He believes that Gion can still help in getting further inside of these games and participating inside of these games. And naively so, he's convincing all the other people around him to share his insights and share, what's going to be the next game. Tell us what's going to be the next game. I know you can tell us what's the next game. And Gion essentially is having none of it in terms of thinking that because this old man jumps in as well, and he's like, we could just tell us what the next game is. We got to keep it to ourselves so we can let other people die. And he's like, no, I'm telling everybody. If it turns out to be Dongi, I think it Donkey, I think. I'm not Korean, guys. Forgive my Korean attempts at doing any of this. So yeah. But as the story goes on, we see that we get a little bit more insight as to what the 001 is essentially all about, and they start talking about how how some players would have been satisfied with taking the dividends of what they won so far, and some players would not have been so keen on exactly what had happened so far in terms of taking that amount of money so far. And he brought up the fact or the argument that some players would have essentially been upset with him if he had decided to take that money and they decided to walk away. They let everybody walk away and essentially ended the game. And I still of the mind when saw it the first time that, you know, again, like that was enough money. Again, like when you have that amount of options, that amount of money, you have options. You have that amount of money, you have options. You have things that you can do, but like it's not worth your life. You got to really understand the value of your life, and that's what this story really comes down to at the end of the day. Honestly, do you value your life? What is the price of your life, and the price of your life in terms of like you can learn that essential happiness. So anyway, we find out the band's getting somewhat getting sort of kind of formed, and they recruit this other guy that was also in the Marines, and he's letting them know he'd like to join them as like kind of a group. So now we have 001 and this army guy, and you know, Dion's old friend from way back in the day. And so now we have like 4 of these players, and then we kind of see like the main cast kind of like forming kind of deal. You know what I mean? But yeah, we also see like, you know, the Thanos and his promoter still is giving this guy who was the Bitcoin guy that we talked about in the first season, giving him a really, really hard time. And it just amplifies, you know, again, Thanos's performance within this even more, and you see it even more like in here in this episode. It's just, again, he's like shining, dude. It's like shining, and it's just like, it's very man, it's very unbelievable that how much money he did not get paid again for this performances. Because if you think about it, in this he had so many roles in this. He played the bully, he played the successful rapper, but he just like he juggled this entire like fucking these roles very well. And again, like, and even in this mini fight that like that happened in this episode between the crypto guy and Thanos, the punches that he's throwing, the acting chops, like I said, it's just really good. And I think that he deserves something for this show of participation in this show of performance that was in, you know, Squid Game. I sincerely feel that it was like really, really good. Because kind of foreshadowing things we kind of saw in this episode too is where 001 or, you know, essentially stopped that fight, came out of fucking nowhere, right? And then we see it throughout the episodes that go on a little bit as well. But he stops this fight, and it's kind of like, this guy is a little, what's going on with this guy? He's a little off, you know? He might be a little off. And you know, like it's hinting towards like he's more than just like, you know, a player. And let me go back and we think about it. I'm pretty sure 001 in the first season of Squid Game was also ill-known, right? So I mean, you would think that Gion, would have been paying more attention and would have found some kind of significance in that, because we can see it as the audience, but like, I guess, you know, obviously you're in it, you're in the adrenaline of like what's going on in the Squid Game, you're not necessarily going to be paying attention. So anyway, as the story progresses and they have their dinner or their food or whatever it is, what happens next is that we get a little bit of insight in terms of what Eno is all about, and we get to learn a little bit more about the situation, I think, what either happened to his wife or what's happening with his wife. And like, guys, I'm gonna be honest, I'm straight up with you guys, I think that was a real story, what he told Gion about how he lost his wife was having complications with a pregnancy and all this other stuff and X, Y, and Z. Like, I think that it was either a real story that happened or it's currently happening, and he himself might actually be, you know, a part of the Squid Games, where he finds himself trapped and subservient to this group that are constantly, you know, playing these horrible games with these people. Something that I want to touch on real quick of this episode too, what we saw was the storyline with the organ harvesting. In the first season of Squid Games, I was kind of like shocked by this. I was kind of like, whoa, like, okay, we're doing like organ donor based kind of like stuff, and it's like not that I just felt like, you know, I felt like this was a bit much more than we needed it to be. Like the whole concept of they playing these deadly games to survive, like, I mean, like, that's pretty intense enough. But the B storyline, like, actually it was a C storyline within the second season, because the B storyline was with Juno investigating and going undercover, and the intensity of that, him potentially getting caught within the organization as not being one of them. That was the B plot in season 1. But in season 2, I think the B plot now, if not kind of somewhat C plot, is the fact that they're doing these organizing or these organ donor things, and it kind of centers around the girl that we met that was homeless in the beginning, early episodes of the season, and how she has a strong sense of justice, and she doesn't believe in what this mini group is doing in terms of harvesting these organs for, you know, I guess what they claim for is moral purposes. And I mean, realistically, it doesn't look look that way. I mean, like, the second in command from Eno is wearing all black. I mean, Eno wears all black, but he wears a different kind of mask. No kind of like shapes or whatever. But, you know, the secondary guy that's running the black market show, he is essentially wearing all black, and I'm assuming that these organs aren't necessarily going to go to good use, as they kind of sort of put it, in that kind of way. It would behoove me to know that there's actually some kind of morally somewhat acceptable reason for them doing essentially what they're doing and what they've been doing, to play these games and harvest these organs and X, Y, and Z. I highly doubt that it's actually for a morally questionable purpose. I think it's for a black market purposes of them selling organs, essentially, like I said, like on the black market, and it's fucked, and it's a fucked idea. But this whole thing is fucked. It's fucking stupid. It's Squid Game, right? Come on. Okay, so yeah, getting back to it. Getting back to it. Gion is sorry, not Gion. They have this conversation. They're having this conversation with the girl, and we get to look the girl who we saw in the first season, who is one of the triangles. So it means that she's a killer and she has some kind of authority. She is now talking with the black dress Squid guy, so Eno's second in command, and he's telling her about how he saved her and he found her, and when she was like at a certain point in X, Y, and Z and all that sort of stuff. So we get a little bit more background, what I thought was kind of interesting into what she's all about and where she is like coming from in terms of that. So definitely interesting to that degree. We got a little bit more information on her as well. In this episode, we also got a little bit of foreshadowing and a little bit of insight into what this sailor is all about. And I'll be honest with you, like from the start, from the jump, when Juno was going around with the sailor trying to find the island of Eno, and was trying to find what's happening on Squid Games and all that other stuff. It was very suspicious, right? I feel like from the jump of like what the significance of what he was essentially. It was very interesting to see him reveal a little bit more information that he had, and I was like, he's like, oh, I already know about the previous player and X, Y, and Z, all this other stuff, and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, how the fuck you know about that? No one told you that. And he's like, and he lies, and he says that, oh, Juno told me about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, no the fuck he didn't. Why you fucking lying, man? You fucking lying, man. Why the fuck they lying? Yeah, why the fuck they lying? They lying. But no, I was just thinking to myself, like, I was like, when did that happen? I mean, I guess that could have happened from first watch. I was like, I guess that could have happened maybe like off screen where we didn't see it, but like, it's, I don't know, it's kind of shifty. So overall, like, I mean, like, he's been this kind of like shifty character, in my opinion. And later on, we see why for sure. And then the season why he's definitely being a shifty character. And I think that like, it definitely he has some kind of significance to the story, which we'll definitely explore later on within the story as well. Sincerely, definitely believe that. So anyway, the story goes on, and it seems like wait, I gotta talk about something real quick. You know what's actually really, really interesting within this whole episode? Gion had reassured everyone that, hey, you know, it's gonna be like a triangle, and he has this like mini dream of essentially where he the games start and everybody is lining up to play the dongi. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, dongi is that game that in the first season where you had to lick the biscuit. Lick the biscuit. That sounds like dirty. Jesus. Sexualized and dirty. You have to lick the biscuit. So he licks it. So they're all lining up. And the way how they shot this was actually pretty awesome too, because they cut it from like that conversation that that was happening between the sailor on the boat who was carrying around the army guys. And they cut straight to the next game essentially starting, and you would think that, oh, it's the next day. The pacing of it and the way that they did that was actually really cool because it was very believable. So the scene kind of starts, and what happens is that Gion confidently walks up to the guy to accept his the biscuit, which he has to carve out, and it's because everybody chooses triangle because triangle is like the easiest one according to Gion. He opens it, and it's like it's like a Fibonacci sequence. That's so funny. It's like a Fibonacci sequence of like triangles, and it makes it look so much more difficult because it's like, oh, you go in there, it's like, oh, it's gonna be fucking easy. This is nothing. And he opens up the canister, and it's like this like multitude of triangles, and the way they cut it and they shot it is like everybody's berating him now, and he's like panicking, and he's like freaking out, and it's like, oh no, don't worry, dude, this is just a dream. It's good. It was a good fake out. That was a good fake out because I was like, because when it started, I was all on board. But the second like they opened it, I was like, I was just much like the character in the show. I was like, excuse me, what? What? It's just pretty funny. It's just pretty funny. It's good. It's a good one. They got me on that one. Like I was saying, yeah, they definitely got me. But it's moving on with the story. The actual game somewhat starts, and we find out the pregnant girl within this story we talked about earlier is now meeting her baby daddy. And finds out that the baby daddy, the crypto guy, which is actually the crypto guy, is in here with her. Participating in these games as well, and they have a whole conversation about how both of them needed money and like to raise his baby and all those other concerns about how she shouldn't be in there pregnant. As a concept, by the way, is so fucked. I don't know who thought about this. I mean, obviously, like as we discussed about how the mother and son dynamic of those two players being inside this game was probably came from the idea of the reality TV show. But this concept of having a pregnant woman, my lord, in here, and they're really trying to gut punch you with making sure that you feel something deep within your soul, having certain kinds of characters within this season for sure. And man, oh man, they certainly do it with the fact that they're pregnant lady in there. Because morally and ethically, if you think about it, like, I mean, like, what would you do in that situation? How would you handle that situation? And also, I wonder if like they know, because the NDA clause or whatever that is, the agreement clause, not NDA. The agreement clause that they signed doesn't necessarily pertain or should have necessarily pertained to that child. You know what I mean? Like that child didn't have a say, much like anything in this world when you're born into it. It didn't have a say into, what exactly it is participating in. So if she dies, I wonder like how are they gonna handle a baby that's basically inside it. It's like a morally ambiguous, questionable thing that's like having that. So we got the junkie, we got the pregnant lady. There's a transgendered individual as well. It's just very diverse, and I think that's what this season is going for in terms of that. I mean, like the first season was the diverse too, but like the characters are way more, I think, more modern in modern day, up to date within the story. So real time, for real this time, not a fake out, not a dream. They go off to play this, to participate in this game. And Thanos is doing Thanos' thing. He's getting high. He's getting ready to take his drugs and participate in this game. And before they play the game, the announcer says to get into just basically essentially 6 teams. So everybody's splitting up. And this is kind of the dynamics I was talking about earlier about like with these different diverse kind of characters, like we see like how they navigate the world of people wanting them and not wanting them to be them on their team. So if it's a team event, like it could have been tug of war, how helpful would a pregnant lady be in tug of war? I mean, maybe helpful. Maybe she might have that super mom pregnant strength, right? Who knows? But like the perspective of the people and what people would possibly think about choosing in that is displayed very well here. But essentially, they're expected to get into groups of 6, and everybody finds that groups relatively whether by hook or crook or whether by being leftovers or whatever it is, each of the individuals or everybody just neatly signs themselves into groups of 6. And the game that they're playing is the 6-legged pentathlon. Pentathlon, I don't know, I guess. Yeah, it's a 6-legged pentathlon. And essentially it's a game that's an assortment of mini games, of 5 mini games. I'm pretty sure it is 5 or 6 mini games that they have to complete within 5 minutes, or they are eliminated. Essentially, within them, and the 5 games are surprise, based off of children's games of the Korean culture, and I don't like when I'm watching this and when I've seen the first round of this. What I'm noticing is like what I noticed this on first and second watch is like what I found interesting was like Korean games and children's games, well, in general, around the world, they're kind of somewhat similar, huh? If you grew up around, I guess the time of like, well, not even if you grew up around, like in general, I guess, yeah, like in general, like children's games. I wonder if children's games have changed today. Because obviously, like, well, I'm not a child, but like, I want to change. Like in general, like changes get to feel like they're in general they played. Because one of the games they play is a game called, well, throwing stones is like that's just a thing that kids do. Throwing stone, and then they have a game that there's a top game. Dachi is probably we're familiar with that from the beginning of the Squid Game and the beginning of like the beginning of Squid Game, the beginning of everything really, because it's one of the first games that we ever see like essentially really played. But yeah, and then they had throwing stones. Kids are always throwing stones, and they had top, like a spinning top. I remember Beyblades. Beyblades is basically just spinning tops. That's all it is, really. And the fact that it's a globally recognized Rise and Little thing. Again, like I think like kids games are just kids games. And then what was it? What was another one they had? Jeggy or whatever it is, or something like that. That's kind of like Jax, honestly, really. But when you play, I don't know if you guys remember. Maybe I'm too old. Jax is like a game where you bounce the ball and you pick up the Jax, and you can see how much you can pick up at once. And it's very similar to one of the games that they played here as well. And then another one is where they had to like, I think this is in the next episode, but they had to bounce the ball or whatever it is 5 times with 5 times with their feet, without letting it hit the ground once. And all of these games are, like I said, are very synonymous with like children's games that I remember playing, and that I think probably are still played somewhat today. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting that those kids games are kind of like almost like a globally recognized thing, and also like the fact that they're like all of their legs are kind of like tied together, like in that kind of like I said, six-legged pentathlon thing or whatever it is. Like I remember back in the day. I mean, I don't know, you guys can tell me that this too. You guys remember like if your school had like a sports day or something like that, or like maybe like a fun day, there was definitely like times where we would like, you know, walk. There's times that we would you know, walk. Yeah. we just be fucking walking out there. No. There's times when relay races and like well, some of those like just like carnival games, like at the egg race and the jumping in the sock thing, the jumping in the sock, the three-legged race. Yeah, three-legged race is the six-legged race essentially, across the circle. And that's what they're doing here. And it just, I don't know. I think these games, and I think that's why maybe Squid Game is like so popular, because like it brings back a lot of memories as like a child and the games that you used to play as a child. You know what I mean? And I think it's a very nostalgic kind of thing, and it's a thing why it works so well and why it's so successful. And besides the whole, you know, alternate plots and people getting murdered in X, Y, and Z. But yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, so this episode, sorry, I think I got off track there a little bit. But so the episode goes on, and the first teams are participating in this, and they are trying to finish each of their participating games, and one of them is throwing stones, and one of them throws a stone and he keeps missing. I thought that was really funny. So one of them throws a stone, and one of them keeps missing it, and then to the time where all of the time is essentially getting eaten up. And then the other team was doing very, very well, and they were getting past it, and they were getting past it too. But this one guy, he couldn't get past his stone, and when like I think they had like maybe like 20 seconds left, and he finally hits the stone. Story of my life, essentially. He finally hits his own. 20 minutes, 20 seconds left to spare. He finally hits it, and then after he fucking hits it, all right, they're all celebrating, and it's all good. And he's like, but at this point in time, he's like pissing himself. He's like pissing himself, and he's like, you can see the desperation within him, like that it's over. And also, I'm pretty sure that guy who was doing the stone, who kept fucking up, that guy wanted to join Guillaume's team. I think that was him. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but like that's the irony. That's all I'm thinking about. But the other team was doing so well, and they were getting so far. They were able to spin the top. They were able to play the Jacks game. They were able to do all this stuff. But they had like one more game to do. And right before they get to the final game, and they get murdered, and they got eliminated. And these people are like cap checking them and making sure that they are, you know, there's definitely 110% no survivors. Hence the, you know, intensity and the almost disgust that is Squid Game. But anyway, yeah. And then the episode kind of like concludes itself with Thanos sharing some drugs, and the next team, that will be our B-list team. I mean, B-list stars within this series. We get to know another group of people besides the circle around that's Gion, which is actually always, you know, kind of fun and kind of interesting. That decide to join up together, and they are just about to participate, and everybody's getting all pumped up, kind of like reassuring everybody like, we can do this, like calm down, like just relax, we're gonna get through this, and this is gonna be us, it's gonna be good. we're gonna kill her. And the shaman lady, the shaman lady who's being so annoying, but she's doing a shaman shit, is grabbed by the arms and she's told away to start this game. And that's basically how the episode ends, and that's basically it for episode 4. Yeah, so this one is actually a really good one, like in my opinion, honestly. A lot of fake outs, right? Like that dream sequence is actually so interesting. We're just gonna jump right into our next segment called Ash's favorite scenes. No Ash's worst scenes, because this is actually a pretty good series. Okay, so jumping into Ash's favorite scenes, I gotta admit, this one has some very interesting scenes in it, but I did like how easily flattened Thanos, this young punk, when he was bullying the other guy and they were all in a scuffle battle. It kind of revealed who he was a little bit, but at the same time, just to see that fact that he took down two individuals without even essentially trying. He hit Thanos right in the and he's being so precise. He hits Thanos right in the heart and grabs him by the neck and hits the other guy in the shin and kicks him away. And it just so shows that even though it looks like he's not in control, he's in control, tiger within the cage kind of thing. It looks like he's in control, like I said, but he's really in control. Coming in at number 2, definitely gonna say the dream sequence. I think for this episode, well, actually, no. The coming in number 2 was the scene with the first 2 teams actually rolling through, trying to fucking get through the games, because it kind of shows the demo of the game. It shows the high stakes that are associated with the game, and the fact that they both lost at the end of it. They both got shot, and then they just didn't make it. Shows okay, this is what's gonna happen to you if it ends. And the fact that guy kept fucking up on the rock. It's very demonstrative of what's gonna happen or what could happen within games. Very informative of the loser of the those individuals that are more likely to play, and those are individuals that are also more likely to not who are not playing as well. Well, not to not play. Sorry, what am I saying? It's more informative to us as the viewers, and informative to the individuals, the characters as well, in terms of the writing for the show. Coming in at number 1 for Ash's favorite scenes. Coming in at number 1 is definitely, I think, is going to be the dream sequence. Yes, that was number 1. The dream sequence with Gion, and he's it's the Fibonacci sequence of squares, dude. That's like a square within a square within a square within a square within a square times infinity, probably a bunch of. That's beautiful. That's great. It's oh yeah, this shit's gonna be so easy. I fuck got this smirk on his face, and then he opens it and it's oh fuck. That's it. Ain't that life? You think you're so cocky. He was this is nothing. Yeah, and then someone just smacks you right in the butt. Smacks you right in the face, and you're just oh, the reality of it. Anyway, guys, now we're gonna move into Ash's the on review score, and on review is definitely gonna give this episode, season 2, episode 4 of Squid Game. This was just fun. It wasn't so it was fun, but it was not a lot of people died, but I don't know. It was good, but it wasn't super duper good. So I'm gonna give this definitely a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 for this one. Nothing too exciting and nothing too epic, but 4 out of 5. Decent, fair score. Okay. All right, guys. And that's going to do it for this episode of OnReviewCast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it all the way through, guess what? You are champions. You are a champion in my book, and I believe in you. You're a champion, and I believe in you. Okay? A little bit of voice acting there for you. You're a champion, and I believe in you. You're a champion. Anyway. Okay. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I really do appreciate it, like I said. Don't forget to check out some of my music. I'm always promoting it and always saying, go check out some music with Ashley Anomaly. He's so great. Check out Stars, check out Memories, and check out that other one called Boo. It's all up there on there everywhere you stream. It's amazing. I'm amazing. Yeah, the music, that's great. And also, guys, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about this episode, feel free to comment. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know what you think, and I want to know what your thoughts are, what your thought processes are, what you think about this episode, and how you feel about this episode as well. Let me know if you have any thoughts about Thanos. I'm really interested to hear that shit. And also, guys, let me know, what kind of music, about the music, even if you want to comment about the music as well, let me know about that. And check out some of my other channels, Ash, the composer, and DB Voices, check out some of that stuff too. And let me know if you just want more of the content. But anyway, guys, that's essentially going to do it for me. Don't also forget to check out all of our socials, our Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter. And also hit us up on all of our socials. And guys, like I said before, and like I always say at the end of these, be safe, be kind, be you. Take care.